Hi, Frank Thacker here, and welcome to the Daily Peacemaker. I'm going to talk a little bit today about nonviolence. What is nonviolence? I get asked that question a lot. Frank, what's nonviolence? It can be irritating at times. The next time someone asks me that, what I'm thinking of doing, I'm going to grab them and say, you want to know what nonviolence is? Well, this is violence. So take that and think of the opposite. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm only kidding. I wouldn't do that. Hopefully, I wouldn't do that. I do like the question, what is nonviolence? Because I find when I start to talk to someone about it, I quite often get another little nuance of it or something. And, going back to that little skit I just did, one of the things about nonviolence is it does not mean that you don't get angry. Now, is that a double negative? Let me put it this way. You can be angry and still be nonviolent. The key, obviously, is what you do with that anger. If you take that anger and use it, it's an energy, so you can take it and use it to do some really good stuff, or you can, because you're not really in tune, and you don't have that growing sense of inner peace, what often happens is the anger takes hold of us and causes us to do something destructive. Not blaming the anger for any violent things I do, but the issue is anger is an energy. You can use it for something to do something really good, or you can allow it to cause you to do something very destructive. So, number one thing to know about nonviolence is if you're angry, it doesn't mean, so let me change it around before I do a double negative. You can be angry and still act nonviolently. Good example of that is, from my understanding, the woman that founded MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, her son was killed by a drunk driver, and she got so angry that she took that and created this really powerful organization. All right, so that's one thing. It's okay to be angry and you can still be nonviolent. Another thing that happens a lot is people see nonviolence as passive. It's not. It's anything but passive. It's a real active endeavor to create a culture of peace. And some of that sense of it being passive comes from this notion of turn the other cheek. And from my experience, that is found in the Christian Gospels, I think it's the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus is talking, and one of the things he says, if someone slaps you on the cheek, turn the other cheek. And someone just sent a text there. The way to understand that is that in that culture, if I'm in a position of power and you are undulant or, a ne'er-do-well, and we have a confrontation and you kind of insult me, I will hit you in order to show my power and, my power and how good I am and how you're nothing. I will take my right hand, the back of my right hand, and you're facing me, so boom, slap you across your right cheek. We even have remnants of that today. I'll give you the back of my hand. So if that happens, all right, so you're standing in front of me, you insult me, and I'll put you in your place, buddy. Boom. The back of my right hand slaps you on the right side of your face. So if I then stand there and don't feel humiliated and don't go, oh, yes, I'll never do that again, but simply turn my left cheek towards you, you are then faced with a dilemma. Because in that culture, if you used your left hand, or the left hand actually was used for to do some unpleasant tasks. So now all of a sudden, I'm confronted by, oh, what do I do? I just slapped this person into their place, and now they're not responding to that the way I thought they would, and they are like showing me their left cheek. I can't hit you with my right hand because I can't use the back of my right hand. So I am sort of face. Whew, So the issue there is to get that person, the person in power, to maybe back up a bit and say, "Ooh, maybe this isn't a good way to, maybe it will raise their consciousness a little bit." Um, Another good example of that is the notion where Jesus tells, when a soldier asks you to carry their bag a mile, their equipment, go 2 miles. And again, in that culture, the Roman soldiers mostly were could could command someone to carry their bags, but the soldiers were told you only carried a mile. The thinking is that it shows the soldier that they're in power, but you don't want to be so abusive to the people that they begin to maybe revolt. So if a soldier comes up to you and says, "All right, you carry my bag for the mile," and the and most of the big roads or the main roads there, the miles were marked. There were mile markers, so you had a pretty good idea. So you carried a mile, and then you keep going. The soldiers go, "Whoa, whoa, wait a minute! Come back here. You don't have to do anything more." And you go, "Well, that's okay. I'll keep walking." So again, that soldier is faced like, "Oh, what do I do here?" If I let him or her carry the bags further, I'm going to get in trouble. So maybe it causes that soldier to rethink things and say, well, maybe this isn't a good idea. I might not want to get in this situation anymore. So the notion is basically it's not passive, even though at times it may seem that way. So those are two things. Nonviolence is not passive, and it's okay to be angry, and you can still react in a nonviolent way. And I think the more you get into the practice of nonviolence and learn about it, the less likely you are to get mad about something. You have that sort of inner peace, and something happens, and you might get angry, but you can let go of it really quickly and say, okay, what can I do in this situation? So those two things, and then I'm going to take a sip here, excuse me. The other, maybe more positive way to look at what nonviolence is, rather than some of the things that it is not, is it's a science, which means there is a body of knowledge, there is research. There's actually a lot of research done recently, really good research. So it's a knowledge base. There's a lot you can learn about nonviolence. It is a skill. So when you learn how to do different things, then you have to practice how to do that to get good at it. And it's also very creative. I mean, a good example of that is the turning the other cheek. That's a very creative response. So if you take, let's say, painting, painting pictures, not painting the house. So you can study about painting, like what colors mix best to make this color, what type of brush to use in this given situation, what type of canvas do you want to use, how to make different types of strokes. So there's a whole body of knowledge that it's helpful to know if you're going to get into some serious painting. So then there's the skill in painting, which comes from actually doing the painting, the work of it. And the more you practice, the better you get at that. And then it's creative. You could see some of the really creative work that's done with painting. So nonviolence is pretty similar in that, like I said, it's a body of knowledge. And speaking of that, um, part of the knowledge base, or one of the ways of knowledge, one of the areas of knowledge base is the steps and principles of Kingian nonviolence. And um, we have 4 videos lined up that we've done, myself and Pam McDonald and Madden Labriola, on the steps and principles. There we've like did 3 sections. So like the first one is the first 3 principles of nonviolence and so forth. And we'll be posting those pretty soon. They're a little bit long, but the thing is, everything that we post, every podcast video that we do is on the website, and it will be there so you can go back and check it and stuff. And so a while back in one of the podcasts we did, talked about the levels of violence and how to stop it before it gets too intense. And I had talked about being at a party and going by a room, and these 2 people were really arguing. And when I came back by the room, they were still arguing and had gotten real intense. And I was saying, "Oh, what should I do?" And I thought about it, and so what I ended up doing was talking to a couple of friends about what to do, and they said, "Well, maybe you should check it out and stuff." So one of them suggested, "Why don't you do this? Why don't you get those hors d'oeuvres?" Because I had gone out to the kitchen to check them out and see what they had, because I was getting a little hungry. He said, "Why don't you get a plate of those and go in and say something to the effect that the host asked me to bring these around and have people test them to see if they liked them before she put them out." So that was very creative. And what happened is I went in and said, "Okay, I will go and do that." And I went and got the hors d'oeuvres and went back to the room, and things had quieted down by then for whatever reasons, I don't know. So I didn't really go in. But you could see how that the creativeness of nonviolence, theoretically, if they were still intensely arguing, I could have gone in and said, "Oh, something to the effect, it sounds like you're having a real heated discussion, but I wonder if you could do me a favor." Right away, when you say something like that, most people are apt to say, "Yeah, okay, yeah, what is it? What do you want?" And so you ask them, test them, and then you can say, when I came in, people seem to be having a really interesting discussion. You don't call it an argument, discussion. And so then, they might say, "Yeah, we are, and why don't you get out of here? We don't want you butting in here." So when you take a step into nonviolence, you do risk getting abused and stuff. So it's good to be aware of that. But the key is it can be really, really creative. So what is nonviolence? So we just touched on a couple of things. So things to remember: it is not passive. It's a very active endeavor. Anger is okay. Just because you're angry doesn't mean that you are a violent person. It actually is an energy you can use to do some really good work in nonviolence. And the third piece is that nonviolence is a science, it's a skill, and it's a creative endeavor. It's an art, really. You can look at it as an art. So those are all areas that we're going to try to touch upon, especially the so-called science part, where it's a base of knowledge. There's tons of ideas and stuff about nonviolence and principles to guide you, and activities you can do, and research. So I think that's it for now. So as I said, um, I think the next steps are going to be sharing with you those videos that we did about the steps and principles of nonviolence. So hopefully this is helpful to understand what nonviolence is. As always, thank you for listening. And if you have thoughts, feelings, ideas, or questions about what you think nonviolence is, we would love to hear them. Best way to do that is to visit our website, Daily Peacemaker, all one word, dailypeacemaker.com. There's a place there where you can send emails to, if you go to contacts, you can call or send an email. So good to be with you, and we continue the journey, and hope you have a good day, good night, wherever you might be, and hope to see you again soon, probably within another week. I'd like to do those 4 sessions, probably one every week, and they'll then be on the website where you can go back and study this great wisdom from these three great nonviolent certified trainers. So with that in mind, peace. You take care.